Hi everybody, welcome back to the Academic Convenience Store where you can find fun, fast, and functional facts. Thank you so much for stopping by with me today, and I'm going to ask if you can please like, share, subscribe to the channel. So for today, we are at another segment of So What's the Science? And we are going to be looking at these little round balls. These are actually bouncy balls. And so if you can take a look at the table here, you can see that these balls actually do bounce. They're not like the super high bouncy balls that we get out of those quarter machines, but they actually do bounce. And these balls are made with simple materials that you can find in your house or at your local store. So all that I use to make these bouncy balls are it's borax, which is like a type of cleanser or cleaner detergent, household item. This is basic glue, some cornstarch, a little bit of water, and any color food coloring that you would like, just so that the balls are colorful. And so what is actually the science that is causing these balls to bounce like this? I just think these are so cool. This is one of my favorite science projects that I would do when I was in the classroom, and then also at the science center, we would always do this type of activities with the kids, and they just love this activity. So it's one of the most one of our more fun science activities. So what's actually happening here is that the balls and the materials that are in the bouncy balls are basically what we call polymers. And so polymers are kind of, if you were with me a few weeks ago when we were at the previous So What's the Science segment, is where we were looking at atoms and how atoms together make molecules. And that these items and this matter and material are all around us. And so basically when you have several molecules bonded together, you end up with these long strands called polymers. And so, again, polymers are all around us. They're in the water bottles. They're in plastics. They're like, if you ever have your earbuds, the little rubber piece, those are made out of polymers. Not all polymers are natural. Some of our natural polymers are wool, silk, our bodies. So keratin is a type of polymer that we find in our hair, we find in our nails, the DNA and the cells of our bodies. And so polymers are all around. And scientists also make man-made polymers as well. And so, which are like some of our plastics and things like that. And so, if you take a look at the board here and this example, the image that I have, you will see that the polymer is basically made up of smaller units called monomers. And the monomers are made up of the molecules, as I mentioned before. So maybe 2 or 3 small molecules can bond together and be called a monomer. And then once you have several monomers attaching, you end up with the longer strand called polymers. And so you can also think of the polymers as like a link or building block. So I have this construction paper link here that basically kind of symbolizes the monomers linking together, creating a longer polymer strand. And so with that being said, you can often find, again, these types of materials, and this reaction is happening in so many items around us in our environment, within our bodies. And so if you think about the materials that we use for the bouncy balls, what's happening is when the glue mixture was added to the borax, it created, the borax acted as a cross linker, hooking the glue's molecules together to form the rubbery bouncy balls that we see here. The borax reacted with the glue, causing the polymers or long chains of molecules to begin to stick together. And so also the cornstarch was added to help bind the molecules together so that the ball would hold its shape. The ball can bounce because of the cross-linked polymers. The cross-linked polymer chains are flexible. They're long and flexible. And when the ball hits the ground, it's able to momentarily deform, and it might feel a little bit squishy. The polymers also make the ball elastic, meaning it tends to retain its shape. The word polymer actually means, so I hope that information was helpful. But just again, as we discuss polymers and what that is basically a Greek word that means many parts, and monomer meaning one part. And so when you have these molecules bonding so many at a time is when you get, again, these long strands. And so some polymers are flexible and others are very stiff. So it all depends on the material that is being used, the material that it's being used for. And so as the polymers begin to age, they may lose like the plasticizer. And so like this homemade polymer or homemade bouncy ball eventually is going to start to deflate and it won't be as bouncy anymore. But it begins to react with its environment. One thing about polymers is they don't crystallize, and they don't have a melting point. So it won't go from a solid to like a liquid. You don't end up after a while with a pool of liquid. It pretty much, instead the materials tend to soften gradually as it begins to heat up. And so that's pretty much all I have for you today. I hope that you had fun learning about bouncy balls and what makes them bounce. And I want you to take some time, get some of this material at home all around you and make some yourself. I've seen people put glitter, different colors, make it fun. Make the science fun. And before you know it, you'll be making all kinds of things at your house. And not only that, you'll know what is happening, how they're reacting, and why. You will know the science behind what's happening around us. So thank you so much for stopping by the Academic Convenience Store, where you can find fun, fast, and functional facts.